Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word. Hey, we're continuing our journey through the book of Esther today. And today it's entitled Haman's Hatred. You're going to see what hatred can do to a person, and ultimately it will destroy Haman. And he doesn't realize it, of course. No one realizes it. When you first have so much hate and that grows and grows and you don't have forgiveness, that will eventually destroy you. Okay, so this is, again, Esther is a fascinating book. Once you study it and get into it, you're like, wow, this is a really involved story. A lot of drama happening here. Okay, so we talked yesterday about Haman's. Earlier on, we talked about where Haman came from, and he was an Agagite, which we talked about was people that Saul was supposed to kill a long time ago. So we're going to continue on today, and this chapter is really about Haman here, who was an enemy of the Jewish people. And well, he didn't start out that way, but he became that way because one guy doesn't bow down to him. Okay, let me read here. We're going to be reading today from Esther 3, verses 3 through 15. Okay, and that's Esther 3, chapter 3, verses 3 through 15. So if you have your Bible, like I do, follow along with me. It says this: Then the royal officials at the king's gate asked Mordecai, "Why do you disobey the king's command?" Day after day they spoke to him, but he refused to comply. Therefore they told Haman about it to see whether Mordecai's behavior would be tolerated, for he had told them he was a Jew. Okay. Verse 5, when Haman saw that Mordecai would not kneel down or pay him honor, he was enraged. Yet having learned who Mordecai's people were, he scorned the idea of killing only Mordecai. Instead, Haman looked for a way to destroy all Mordecai's people, the Jews, throughout the whole kingdom of Xerxes. Okay. Let me stop there. You're thinking to yourself, man, this Mordecai, he won't bow down to anybody. That sounds like a lot like what I've also read in the Bible. Yeah, where have you read that? You've read it in the book of Daniel, where Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego will refuse to bow down to the king. Okay, that particular incident and this one has a lot of similarities. They both took place while the Jewish people were in captivity. Okay, however, keep in mind, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego took place during the first captivity, and then the people were taken captive on to Persia. So Persia conquered the people that the Babylonians. Okay, so Babylon was the first kingdom that was reigning over the Jewish people, and then the Persians took over and reigned over them. And you can see that the Persian kings had a different philosophy, and they actually encouraged the people to go back to Israel. Okay. However, when the book of Esther takes place here, Esther and Mordecai have not gone back. They have assimilated into the region. And throughout the world, there was all kinds of Jewish people that assimilated into the regions they were at. They never did go back. Okay. So anyway, so we see this hatred going on here. Okay. And so he wanted to kill not only Mordecai, but he wanted, because he refused to bow down to him, but he also wanted to wipe out all the Jewish people. I mean, that's way, way extreme. Okay, so a lot of extreme stuff happening here. You're going to see in this chapter here, like a lot of extremes. Okay, so the first extreme is that all this hatred built up for Mordecai and then spilled over to all the Jewish people. So verse 7, in the 12th year of King Xerxes, in the first month, the month of Nisan, the pur, that is the lot, was cast in the presence of Haman to select a day and a month. And the lot fell on the 12th month, the month of Adar. Then Haman said to King Xerxes, there is a certain people dispersed among the people in all the provinces of your kingdom who keep themselves separate. Their customs are different from those of other people, and they do not obey the king's laws. It is not in the king's best interest to tolerate them. If it pleases the king, let a decree be issued to destroy them, and I will give 10,000 talents of silver to the king's administration for the royal treasury. Okay, let me stop there for a moment. So King Xerxes, or Haman, has all this hatred built up, and he says, he goes to the king and says, you know what, these people don't believe the way we do. We need to destroy them. You notice never once does he say these are Jewish people. Okay, he just says, you know, we need to destroy these people. Okay, so the king, he's trusting his advisors, and Haman is one of his advisors. So he's trusting the advisor and just kind of following along like, oh, okay, yeah. So, but what I want you to see here is this. How much was paid? Let me reread that. How much was that Haman was willing to offer, okay? He said, I will give 10,000 talents of silver to the king's administrators for the royal treasury. Now, a talent is a measure of money, but it's different than a coin. You can't say, I'll take a talent of gold and figure it's a gold coin. No, a talent was a weight. So the amount of dollars would vary depending if it was gold or silver or copper, okay? So that this is silver, okay? So he said 10,000 talents. Let me tell you the weight of that. That weight would be equal to 375 tons. Can you imagine that much silver? Okay, I can't. I can't even fathom that much silver. Okay, so he offers the king this much silver. Now I don't know if there's different commentators that will say Haman was a very wealthy guy and had this much silver and was willing to give it away for these people to die. So that's a lot of hate. Okay, you're willing to pay that much to get rid of these people. The other thing would be that he was saying, let's kill the Jewish people and plunder them. And naturally, if you kill them, you get all their stuff, and that would be the amount that the king's treasury would get. Okay, keep in mind, when you start talking money, the king's ears will perk up because he just lost a whole bunch of money when he unsuccessfully went to Greece and he fought the Spartans and lost. Okay, so he lost a lot of soldiers and stuff. And we talked about he came back kind of with his tail between his legs because he lost there. So when Haman says, I'm willing to give this much money to get rid of the Jews, the king is probably going, oh, okay, yeah. Not even considering that they're Jewish people and so forth. And keep in mind also, King Xerxes, to him, life wasn't very valuable because he just basically sacrificed a whole bunch of his soldiers unsuccessfully trying to conquer Greece and lost, thousands of soldiers there. So let's move on here. It's just a fascinating thing how much he was willing to pay. So keep that in mind. That we often skip over that, how much he was willing to pay. All right, verse 10. So the king took the signet ring from his finger and gave it to Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. Keep the money, the king said to Haman, and do with the people as you please. The king didn't even want the money. That's kind of crazy. So he said, just keep the money. And he gave the signet ring. The signet ring is what you would use to sign that document. It would have a symbol on the ring, and then you would stamp it on the thing. That would be your signature. Okay? Verse 12. Then on the 13th day of the first month, the royal secretaries were summoned. They wrote out in the script of each province and each language of the people all of Haman's orders to the king's satraps, the governors of the various provinces, and the nobles of the various peoples. These were written in the name of King Xerxes himself and sealed with his own ring. Dispatches were sent by courier to all the king's provinces with the order to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jews, young and old, women and children, on a single day, the 13th day of the 12th month in the month of Adar, and to plunder their goods. Okay, that's where the money. That's where some money's coming from. Plunder all their goods. A copy of the text of the edict was to be issued as law in every province and made known to the people of every nationality, so they would be ready for that day. Okay, now keep in mind, we talked a bit at the beginning of Esther. The king was ruling over 127 provinces. Okay, which would also be one of those provinces would be the nation of Israel, which some Jewish people had resettled back in. Can you imagine that letter is going back there, and they're like, wait, the king of Persia, the Persians that sent us back here, now they want to wipe us out? That it doesn't make sense. But so King Xerxes reigned over 127 provinces, people speaking all different languages, and so he had to get this message out. So that's why you have the translators and all these messengers going out to give this message. Okay, and that's why you're going to find the king's orders can't be changed just willy-nilly, because it's so much work to give the initial order. All right, so the couriers went out, spurred on by the king's command, and the edict was issued in the citadel of Susa. The king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Susa was bewildered. Okay, so they just gave this order to annihilate all the Jews. And Haman and Xerxes are thinking so little about it. Life is so meaningless to them that they sit down and drink. Okay, but look at what the rest of that sentence is. But the city of Susa, that's where all these Persians were living. Okay, and there was Jewish people there too. But all these people were living, but the people of Susa, the city of Susa, was bewildered. They're like, these are Gentiles, and they're like, why are we killing the Jews? What in the world did they do? There's nothing going on wrong here. And so there's a lot of bewilderment. Now imagine you have a leader, and he makes this order, and you're like, why would you make that order? It doesn't even make sense why you would do such a crazy thing like that just to annihilate all a people group. But that's what happened. And I want you to see from this whole thing is this all started with hatred. And it started with hatred over one man, and then it blew up into, let me just wipe out all the people group. Okay? All the Jewish people. Way, way, way more than should have been done. Okay? Of course, it's way more than what should have been done. But talk about overreaction, and then all the money he was willing to pay to have that done. It's crazy. So hatred will make you crazy. Thanks for watching. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue our journey through the book of Esther. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then.